Good morning, guys. So this is our second to last lesson. We are in our last week of classes, and then next week is finals. So for those of you in section 2, your final is a week from today. For those of you in section 3, your final is a week from Wednesday. Okay, so today we're going to start chapter 10. The material that we're going to cover is going to come from section 10-2 and section 10-3, but we are not going to go as deeply or as in depth as we normally would have had we been given the full week like I was intending to cover chapter 10. So I'm going to really focus on the big ideas that I want you to be aware of in the notes. And then I'm also in the presentation file that I've been posting, the kind of topics you need to know are listed there as well, to kind of help guide you through what would actually be important in the book. One of the big things is we are not going to calculate R by hand. The correlation coefficient is R. We're not going to calculate that by hand, and we are not going to be calculating the slope or y-intercept of our regression equations by hand. I'll mention that again later in the notes, but I just really want you to make sure you recognize as you're reading through or flipping through chapter 10 in the textbook, we are not going to use those formulas that require you to calculate by hand. So I'm putting that into the topics to know as well that you should skip whatever formulas they have listed in the textbook that require you to calculate by hand, as well as the examples that cover doing that as well. We're really going to focus on being able to use technology, and up until this point, I think the calculator has been a great tool. Now that we're to regression equations, it's just a little bit more complicated to do it with your calculator, and seeing the scatter plot and the output that we want from technology is just not as versatile on the calculator. So instead, we're going to use StatDisk. The other advantage is that it'll get us more used to that StatDisk output, some of which is going to be on your final exam. So like I said, we're going to be using StatDisk. When I go through the videos, I'm not going to show you me, typing in the data into my computer. I'm going to have it already in there, but just know that I did have to type it in. I just don't think it's worthwhile you watching me do that. And then today's lesson is a little bit different because instead of assigning you problems from the textbook, I am going to post a file that contains the homework questions. Since we're, scaling down what we're doing from chapter 10, I just didn't think the questions in the textbook really covered in a concise way the material that I want you to know. So you're going to get a homework assignment via file, and I am going to change the due date for that a little bit. I'll make sure to update you or to make it really clear when it's due, but I do want it to be submitted before Monday. So just know it's not going to be a full week for this one. It's a really short assignment, so I think you're going to be fine. I just want to have time to see those homework assignments, give you some feedback on that before the final exam where you're asked questions like that. So just know that that's coming. Okay, I think that's everything before this lesson. Really want to emphasize we're going to use technology a whole lot more. One of the problems in our notes is going to ask us to sketch a scatter plot. That's one of the few times that we're going to do it, and I'm not going to show, me doing all of the work for that. Really, we're going to focus on using technology to make things like scatter plots. So just keep that in mind. Technology is really useful in this lesson. Okay, I will see you in the next video.